Hello, tubers and tubettes. My name is Dave Dixon, and I live in Northern California. And if you're just finding me, I appreciate it. If you're coming back, I appreciate it. Today is Saturday, and it's kind of unusual because I normally don't run leads on Saturday. Pool leads. I'm in the swimming pool business. But because of how slow the leads have been coming in, I decided, I better run them on Saturday. That seemed to be for both of these people, that was the best time to meet with them. And so you want to get out there right away. And they say, like, when you get a lead, you want to be early, you want to be late, you want to sign them up. So as soon as you get the lead, you do want to get out there. So my two leads today, one is in the town of Rockland, which I just looked it up. It's 50 miles away, but being a Saturday, it should be easy to get up there. And then the other one I have is in Galt. I set that one yesterday. Sounds like the guy's having a house built on the second one, and he was super busy. I mean, if I couldn't have met him today, I would have had to meet him on the 22nd. So even though I don't like to run leads on Saturdays and Sundays, and I typically don't, that's pretty much been a thing just because I never had to. I mean, I didn't have to. When I first started in the business, I'd run any lead, anytime, anywhere. So I'm going to talk a little bit about pools today, and I wanted to talk about how we get paid. In our business, it's straight commission. So for some of the brand new guys, they might get paid 5%, which, if you think about it, that's not bad, because when a house is being sold, the commission is generally 6%, but half of it goes to the listing agent and half of it goes to the buying agent. And then out of that 3% that each one of them gets, 1.5% goes to the agent, and the other 1.5% goes to the agency, like the listing agency. So that 6% is kind of broken up with everybody. With swimming pools, which are a big investment too, not as much as houses, obviously, but the commission rate is typically 5%. So if you're selling a pool for $60,000 and it's 5%, then your commission on it would be around $3,000. And so if you've been with a company a little bit longer, generally can work up to 5.5% or sometimes 6%. If you're a really top end earner on it, you can make more, like 7%. So it all has to do with your ability to sell. Now, the weird thing about it is that there's no base. You do have what sounds like a base, where I get paid so much per week, whether I sell a pool or not, but that money is taken away from my ledger. So I still have to earn the money to be able to draw what I want to draw. If you wanted to draw, like say $500 a week is what you felt like you needed, then after 1 month, you'd owe the company $2,000. So now if you don't end up selling anything, then technically you're supposed to pay them back. But sometimes they ask for the money back, sometimes they don't. Just depends on how bad it was, how long you went without selling a pool, and I guess how hard you tried. But most of the time you technically do owe them money. So when I had my cousin come in and learn how to sell pools, that was something that was kind of hard to explain to him, because he had always worked as a warehouseman, warehouse guy. And so he's always going to be paid a certain amount. Now, granted, not a lot, but at least it was consistent. You can bank on it. With him asking for his, draw, we call it a draw. I said, don't go crazy, ask for, something that's going to be, you can handle it, because if you don't sell anything, you could end up owing them. So he was like, well, so now, and he's just a total blue collar guy. So he was like, so now let me understand this. So I've got to take the lead. I've got to drive to the house. I have to pay for my own gas. Yes. And all my maintenance on my vehicle. Yes. And I have to pay on my draw if I have a draw that goes out. So the company really has nothing out there. I go, well, yeah, that's kind of true, but it depends on how well you do, in your first year. And it was a hard concept for him, and I call it a barrier to entry. If we had it where people were getting paid $30,000-$40,000 a year, well, then nobody would be working. They would be very unmotivated to work, and they could just hang around doing $30,000-$40,000 and being, pathetic at the job. So it really does require that you be good. And he stuck with it. I told him when I was training him that you need to stick with it, and you need to do everything I ask you to do, which included cutting off his mustache. I told him his goatee. I said, no, you got to have no facial hair. I was trying to give him every advantage, to being able to sell. And one of them is, facial hair, long hair, dyeing your hair red or whatever. You can do that, but you're going to have less sales. How much less? Nobody really knows. It's a function of how people relate to you. But normally you like to be clean shaven, good haircut, wash clothes, your car clean, show up on time. These are a lot of things that have nothing to do with the pool, but it has a lot to do whether you're going to sell it or not. So he reluctantly did it, and prior to this, prior me knowing him for all those years before, he had never ever made any money in warehousing. I just remember him being poor for years. It was stressful, his job, and it was frustrating, and he moved around a little bit. But I said, if you get into sales, you can really make a decent living, and at some point you won't have to work as hard. So in his first year, he made $90,000, and he had never made $90,000 ever. It was more like $30,000, and so he did do it for about 3 or 4 years, and he didn't end up staying with pool sales. He's now in automobile sales, but a lot of the things are the same. And so how you approach a customer, how you build rapport rapidly, and so he actually does really good financially selling cars, and he really likes that. It's a lot more camaraderie, because you have a group of guys that are hanging out together waiting for the people to walk onto the car lot. It's not my cup of tea, but he really likes it, and I do feel that he's successful at it a little bit, based on my training, to train him as a salesperson. So we call this barriers to entry, because if you're not really getting a paycheck, you're getting a draw. Well, a lot of people are not going to do that, even though they might be able to make $100,000, $200,000, even $300,000 a year. They're just not going to take that risk. And a lot of it is that they don't feel confident that they can do it. So he really had to let go of a lot of his fears and just follow me and do what I said for 1 year, and then it worked out for him. In a lot of jobs that you get into, especially you get married, you have a wife and everything, they're not going to want you to take a job like that, like a straight commission job, or even a car selling cars, because the income is up and it's down. It's kind of up and down all the time. And my wife has a very steady, income, pretty high income, but steady. And but they require a lot of her, where I have a lot of free time. Usually have Saturdays available. But in our business, it can be boom or bust. The idea is to always be selling pools, and last year was one of the lowest selling pool years that I ever had, and a lot of it was because of the interest rate. the inflation, and just people not knowing where the economy was going. So I think a lot of those things were functions, and that's why I started my YouTube channel, because I did have a lot of time. But now all of a sudden here in February, it's starting to pick up, and this is kind of looking like a regular year. So I sold one pool so far on the 31st of January, and that's a good one, cash deal. And so now I'm going to be shooting for 29 more pools. That's my goal this year, is to do 30 pools. That way I'm not going too crazy, and I'm not, and I'm going to be able to handle it and still have time to do things. Now, a lot of times when it comes to YouTube, I don't have a choice. I have to go where the money's at. So that's what happened in the past when I started YouTube, is we were, selling a lot of pools back then. I mean, I was even selling 100 pools a year. And so I didn't have a choice. I had to do that. That's where I was making my money. I couldn't say, well, I might make money doing YouTube. Not when I have a sure thing, so if the economy turns around, like some people are thinking it's going to be a boom year, if that happens, then the pool sales might pull me so much that I have to slow down on my leads, on my YouTube video accounts. But I hope it doesn't. I would like to still be able to do these videos and be able to upload them. So thank you for listening. I just want to explain a little bit how the payout schedule is for swimming pool salesmen in the state of California. Thank you much, and have a great day.